Have you ever looked in the mirror and quietly wondered, when did I get so weak? One day, you're climbing stairs, carrying groceries, laughing with your grandkids. The next, even lifting a teacup feels heavy. I remember that feeling well. I was 68, living alone in Tokyo. My legs trembled when I stood. My arms had lost their strength. I stopped going out. I felt ashamed and a little scared. Doctors told me it was just aging. They said, try bone broth. So I did, but nothing changed. Then I returned to my hometown in the Japanese countryside. There, everything changed, starting with how I ate. Not with expensive supplements, not with heavy meats, but with something humble, sticky, and strange. In this video, I'll share with you the food that helped me rebuild my strength, and how you can try it too. Before we begin, I'd love to know, where are you watching this from, and what time is it for you right now? Please let me know in the comments below. I truly look forward to reading them. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss what's coming next. When I was 68, I started to disappear from my own life. My mornings became silent. No more walks to the market. No more tending to my tiny balcony garden. Even brewing tea became a challenge. My hands were too weak, my back too sore. I remember dropping a small teacup once, and it shattered like glass and pride at the same time. I didn't talk about it. I thought maybe it was just my time to slow down. But inside, I was grieving, not for my youth, but for my independence. Then one day, my son came to visit. He noticed how thin I had become. My arms had shrunk, my shoulders slouched. I no longer looked like the mother who once carried him through snowstorms to school. He asked me to come live with him and his family in the countryside of Japan. I resisted. I didn't want to be a burden. But in the end, I said yes. That decision saved me. In the countryside, life moves slowly, but with purpose. The first morning, my daughter-in-law placed a tray in front of me. On it was a bowl of warm miso soup with seaweed, a small grilled mackerel, a spoonful of fermented soybeans, natto, and a small bowl of rice. No beef, no chicken, no bone broth, nothing Western or heavy, just humble, traditional Japanese food. I hesitated at the natto. It smelled strong, and it was sticky, stringy, almost alien. But I tried it anyway. The next day, I ate it again, and again the next day. Weeks passed. One morning, I realized I had slept through the night without waking from leg cramps. My digestion improved. I started walking to the mailbox again, then to the garden, then around the block. After 3 months, my pants didn't feel so loose anymore. I could carry groceries. I could lift my grandson onto my lap again. What changed wasn't just the food, it was the way we lived around food. Meals were quiet, but full of presence. We sat on the floor, not on chairs. We ate slowly. We stopped before feeling full. Looking back now, I see that I had been starving, not for calories, but for nourishment. What I needed wasn't more meat or another supplement. It was real food, prepared simply, eaten with intention. Most people in America think that to fight aging muscles, you need big protein shakes or expensive powders. But I'm here to tell you something different. Sometimes the most powerful medicine is something small, fermented, and sticky. Before I could heal, I needed to understand what was happening to me. Why did my muscles vanish so quickly? Why did I feel so weak, even though I still ate 3 meals a day? That's when I first heard the word sarcopenia. It's not a word many people know, but it lives in so many of our bodies. Sarcopenia means muscle loss due to aging. But it's not just about looking thinner or feeling weaker. It's the slow unraveling of the body's strength, balance, and stability, and it starts earlier than most people think. By the time we reach our 50s, our muscle mass naturally begins to decline, slowly at first, and then more rapidly. By age 70, 1 out of every 3 people is living with sarcopenia, and most don't even know it. I certainly didn't. I thought I was just getting older. But then I noticed the signs: struggling to carry bags of rice, losing balance when reaching for something on a shelf, even finding it hard to rise from the floor without holding on to something. These are not just normal aging. They are quiet signals that our muscles are shrinking and our body is calling out for help. In America, I've seen many older people try to fight this with bone broth. It's comforting, yes, warm and nourishing. But while bone broth can be gentle on the stomach and soothing in winter, it doesn't provide the kind of protein your muscles need to rebuild. Muscle needs more than just warmth. It needs activation. What I learned in Japan is that sarcopenia is not just about a lack of protein. It's also about inflammation, digestion, and absorption. You could eat all the right foods, but if your gut isn't absorbing them properly, your muscles still suffer. And here's something else. Our digestive power weakens with age. So what we eat and how easily our body can break it down matters more than ever. That's where fermented foods come in. In Japan, we eat many foods that are naturally fermented. Natto is one of them, and it's powerful, not just because it contains protein, but because that protein is already partially broken down by good bacteria. It's easier for an aging body to use. And then there's vitamin K2, found richly in natto. Most people have never heard of it, but this vitamin helps move calcium into bones and muscles, keeping them strong and dense. When I stopped relying on Western ideas of high protein and started focusing on what my body could truly use, everything began to shift. Sarcopenia doesn't have to be a sentence. It's a condition, but not a destiny. In Japan, we have elders in their 80s and 90s who still walk daily, lift grocery bags, and sweep their own floors. They haven't avoided sarcopenia with magic. They've simply eaten in ways that nourish the body deeply, daily, and gently. The mysterious Japanese food that builds muscle. When I first returned to the countryside, I wasn't expecting anything to change. I thought my best years were behind me, but then I met natto. It was early spring. The cherry blossoms hadn't bloomed yet, and the mornings were still crisp. My daughter-in-law handed me a tray with breakfast: miso soup, steamed rice, grilled fish, and a small, unfamiliar container with a sticky, stringy brown substance inside. "Natto," she said with a smile. "Good for you." I lifted the chopsticks. As I pulled a bit from the bowl, fine threads stretched like cobwebs. The smell, pungent, almost like aged cheese, was sharp and unusual. I wrinkled my nose. I almost didn't eat it. But I did. And that small, slimy bite changed my life. Natto is fermented soybeans. It's been eaten in Japan for over 1,000 years. My grandparents had it every morning. I used to avoid it as a child. Too sticky, too smelly. But now, I see it differently. Now, I see it as strength in disguise. What makes natto so powerful? First, it's packed with protein, but not just any protein. It's a fermented protein. That means your body doesn't have to work as hard to break it down. As we age, our digestive enzymes slow down. Fermented foods like natto come partially pre-digested thanks to the good bacteria that created them. your body can absorb and use the nutrients more easily. Second, natto contains a unique enzyme called nattokinase. This enzyme has been shown to support circulation, reduce inflammation, and help prevent blood clots. Healthy blood flow means your muscles get more oxygen and nutrients, which helps them grow and recover, even in older age. But the secret weapon in natto is something most people have never heard of: vitamin K2. Vitamin K2 is essential for moving calcium into your bones and muscles exactly where it's needed. Without it, calcium can end up in your arteries, not your skeleton. Natto is one of the richest sources of natural K2 in the world. In Japan, researchers have studied the long-term effects of natto. One study showed that people who ate natto regularly had stronger bones and lower risk of fractures. Another study found that muscle strength, especially in the legs and hips, was better preserved in elders who included natto in their diet. But I didn't need a study to convince me. Within a few weeks of eating natto daily, I felt different. I stood up more easily. I walked with more confidence. I even started helping in the kitchen again, chopping vegetables, stirring soup, kneeling, standing, lifting. It wasn't just food. It was a quiet return to myself. Some people in America say, "I can't eat natto. It smells too strong." I understand. I used to feel the same. But there are ways to soften the experience. Mix it with a bit of mustard. Stir it well to make it creamier. Add chopped green onions or even avocado. Eat it with warm rice. It's not about forcing yourself. It's about being curious, trying something new, not for taste alone, but for healing. If natto still feels too unfamiliar, don't worry. There are other ways to start. In the next part of this video, I'll show you 5 other Japanese foods, just as humble, just as powerful, that support your muscles, digestion, and strength as you age. They're simple, gentle, and they're probably already in your kitchen. 5. Japanese foods that help you stay strong. When I was young, I thought strength came from eating big meals, more meat, more rice, more everything. But as I grew older, I realized something the elders in my village always knew. Strength doesn't come from how much you eat. It comes from what you eat and how your body receives it. In Japan, we don't build our meals around steak or protein powders. Instead, we use a variety of simple, balanced foods. These are not superfoods in the trendy sense, but they quietly protect our muscles, bones, and energy every single day. Here are 5 foods I now eat regularly, alongside natto. Each one has helped me feel stronger, not just in body, but in spirit. 1. Grilled mackerel, sabayaki. When I moved back to the countryside, every Tuesday morning, the neighbor's house would smell like grilled mackerel. I had forgotten how comforting that scent was. Mackerel is a fatty fish, rich in omega-3 fatty acids. But unlike salmon, which is often farmed, mackerel is wild, affordable, and incredibly nourishing. Why does this matter? Omega-3s reduce inflammation in the body, and chronic inflammation is one of the silent thieves of muscle in old age. It makes recovery harder and causes pain in the joints. Just one small fillet, grilled with a pinch of salt, gave me not only protein, but anti-inflammatory support. It digests easily, pairs beautifully with rice and miso soup, and leaves you feeling light but satisfied. 2. Miso soup with wakame seaweed. Miso soup is more than just a warm bowl. It's a ritual. Made from fermented soybeans, miso contains live probiotics that support your gut. When your gut is healthy, it absorbs protein and nutrients more effectively, which directly impacts how well your body maintains muscle. I like to add wakame seaweed to mine. It's high in magnesium and iodine, both important for muscle function and energy levels. Even the simple act of sipping something warm helps relax the body and mind. In the mornings, a bowl of miso soup is like a quiet hello to your body. 3. Boiled egg with brown rice. Tamago to genmai. This combination may sound plain, but it's powerful. A boiled egg provides complete protein, every amino acid your muscles need. And when paired with a small bowl of brown rice, it becomes a meal that releases energy slowly, without spiking your blood sugar. In Japan, we believe food should be balanced, not just in nutrients, but in feeling. This dish gave me steady energy throughout the day, without heaviness. Sometimes, when I was too tired to cook, this simple bowl became my medicine. 4. Steamed greens with sesame paste. Goma, as I got older, chewing raw vegetables became more difficult. So I began steaming spinach, mustard greens, and komatsuna, a leafy Japanese vegetable. Then I'd drizzle them with ground sesame paste, goma-e. Sesame seeds are rich in calcium, magnesium, and healthy fats, all important for aging bones and joints. The flavor is nutty and rich, and it helps me enjoy vegetables more. And because the greens are soft, I could eat plenty without tiring my jaw or stomach. 5. Sweet red bean paste, azuki. Yes, even something sweet can help your body. Azuki beans are small red beans used in traditional Japanese sweets. But unlike Western desserts, ours are less sugary and often paired with whole grains, like mochi or millet. Azuki beans are high in iron, fiber, and plant-based protein. After walking or working in the garden, a small piece of azuki mochi gave me gentle energy and helped my muscles recover. And perhaps more importantly, it made me smile. The deeper wisdom behind Japanese eating. Long before anyone in my village talked about nutrition or protein, we simply followed something called shokuiku. Shokuiku means food education, but not the kind you learn from books. It's the quiet understanding passed down through generations about how to respect your food, your body, and the space between them. When I returned to the countryside, I didn't just change what I ate, I changed how I ate. And that made all the difference. In Tokyo, I used to eat alone, standing in the kitchen, rushing through each bite, sometimes in front of the television, sometimes without even tasting. I never realized how disconnected I had become from my meals and from myself. But back home, we sat together on the tatami floor, legs folded, backs upright. Meals were served with care, small portions in small bowls, each one with its own flavor, its own story. We said itadakimasu before eating, not just as a habit, but as a way of giving thanks. Not just to the cook, but to the farmers, the ocean, the land. And then we slowed down, we chewed, we noticed the temperature, the texture, the smell. No phones, no television, just the sound of chopsticks, the occasional hum of appreciation, and sometimes gentle silence. I believe this way of eating is part of why many Japanese elders stay strong. You see, digestion doesn't begin in the stomach. It begins in the mind. When you slow down and focus on your meal, your body prepares better. Saliva flows. Digestive enzymes increase. Your gut becomes ready to receive. And that means your muscles receive more of what they need, too. We also follow a principle called hara hachi bu. Eat until you're 80% full. It may sound strange, but when you leave a little room, your body works better. Your blood sugar stays steady. Your energy doesn't crash. And your stomach doesn't feel heavy, making it easier to stay active afterward. I also noticed something unexpected. By sitting on the floor, getting up and down several times a day, I was training my legs and core without even thinking about it. It wasn't exercise, it was just life. Even my breath changed. When I ate slowly, my breathing deepened. My body softened. My mood lifted. It reminded me that nourishment is not just about nutrients. It's about presence. So if you're watching this and feeling tired or discouraged, don't rush to fix everything. Just start by sitting down. Breathe. Be with your meal. Even a bowl of soup can become sacred if you let it. Gentle movement, Japanese style. In Japan, we don't often talk about working out. We simply move. Every day, in small ways, gently, naturally. When I was younger, I thought strong muscles came from lifting heavy things or sweating in a gym. But after 70, I learned something far more powerful. Strength comes from consistency, not intensity. Every morning, just as the sun rises over the rice fields, a soft piano melody plays on the radio. That's the signal. Time for Ragio Taiso, radio calisthenics. It's an old tradition in Japan. Gentle stretching, slow arm circles, light squats, toe taps. Only a few minutes long, but enough to awaken the body and the breath. Children do it before school. Office workers do it at their desks. Elders do it in parks and temples. I began doing it too, at first just seated in a chair, then standing, and eventually balancing on one leg again. You don't need equipment. You don't need to sweat. You only need a little space and a willingness to begin. Throughout the day, we move because life asks us to. We garden, we sweep, we kneel to serve tea, we sit on the floor and stand up again. Many times a day. Without realizing it, our legs and core remain strong because we never stop using them. My neighbor, Mr. Tanaka, is 91 years old. He rides a bicycle to the post office every afternoon. Not because he's trying to exercise, but because it's part of his life. He says, if I stop moving, I stop living. That thought stays with me. In America, I have seen many elders sit for hours. I understand. It's comfortable. But the longer we sit, the harder it becomes to move again. The joints stiffen, muscles shrink, balance fades. So I began adding small movements to my day. After every meal, I walked to the end of the driveway. In the afternoon, I watered the garden, even if it didn't need it. Before bed, I stood for 1 minute with my eyes closed and tried to balance on one foot. These little things, they matter. They wake up the muscles and remind the brain, I'm still here, I'm still capable. And the more I moved, the better I slept. The better I digested my meals, the more I looked forward to tomorrow. If you're watching this and feel like it's too late for you, please believe me, it's not. You don't need to run. You don't need to lift weights. Just move gently, move often. Move with joy. Even rolling your shoulders or raising your arms can bring life back to places that feel forgotten. Gentle advice for American elders. I know some of you may be thinking, this sounds beautiful, but I live in America. I can't find natto, I don't like fish, I don't know how to cook Japanese food. And to that I say, you don't need to become Japanese. You just need to return to your body, gently, one step at a time. If you can't find natto, try other fermented foods. Greek yogurt, kefir, tempeh, or sauerkraut, anything with live cultures can help your gut absorb nutrients better. If miso soup feels too unfamiliar, start with broth you already like and simply add soft vegetables or seaweed. You don't need to make a perfect Japanese meal. Just borrow the spirit behind it. Simplicity, balance, and care. When I first returned to traditional foods, I didn't change everything at once. I added one bowl of miso, one walk to the mailbox, one deep breath before eating. And slowly, I changed. Remember, your body still wants to heal. It just needs you to give it the right environment. Not with punishment or guilt, but with patience and kindness. You are not broken. You are not too old. You are simply ready for something gentler, something wiser. So tonight, try this. Sit down for your meal, even if it's just toast and tea. Turn off the noise. Take one breath. Give thanks, and feel your body come alive again, one quiet bite at a time. When I think back on those early mornings in the countryside, steam rising from a bowl of miso, the quiet rustle of the garden, the first soft movements of the day, I realize healing doesn't arrive all at once. It comes in small, faithful steps. You don't need to chase youth. You only need to nourish who you are right now. One bowl of fermented beans, one bite of grilled fish, one walk after lunch. These are not trends. They are invitations. Back to strength, back to dignity, back to yourself. If you've watched this far, I want to thank you. Not just for your time, but for your heart. It takes courage to hope again, to try again, to believe that change is still possible, even in your 60s, 70s, 80s, or beyond. Just remember, your body hasn't abandoned you. It's been waiting, quietly, patiently, for you to come home to it.